Yeah, the first time that I drank alcohol, I was 13 years old, and I got some beer, and I hid them in my toy box. I can remember even at that time, at 13, thinking, man, I found the secret to life. That began a constant search for whatever it took to find that feeling again. I got invited to go on a mission trip to Los Angeles, California, right before my senior year of high school. I felt a sense of purpose when I was there. That relationship with Jesus was something I wanted, and I left Los Angeles with a different mindset about like, okay, this is what I want to do with my life. I want to help people that are in hard places. But my default setting in my mind was still performance. Like I had to perform to be valuable. So much of my relationship with God was tied into the work that I was doing, almost like God was like a coach. And if I was doing well, I was on the floor, I was getting to play. If I messed up, he was going to take me out of the game. Living in that constant state of performance, it's like the opposite of rest. The moment that I first got drunk, I just felt at ease. And I felt like when I was at ease, I could perform better. I married my high school sweetheart. We had children. We adopted my little girl from Ethiopia. Moved to Ohio, worked at a church in Ohio, planted a church in Atlanta. Every time that we moved, there was this, okay, I know better now. I know enough about myself. Thousands of times I prayed that. I was like, I'm not gonna do this anymore. I'm done. And then, inevitably ending back up in the same spot, doing it again. I went long periods of time where I never prayed because I didn't know what else to say. That mindset that I lived in, that I have to perform to be valuable, it stayed with me no matter what. I could sit across the table from one of my closest friends for 20 plus years, watching him cry and say, Matt, do you need help? And I said, nah, dog, bro, I got this. I'm good. I could not admit to them that I needed help and I couldn't do this. And we moved to Louisville and start working at Southeast. And it was just this insane cycle over and over again. And then it was never enough. Like, I'm gonna buy little bottles on purpose because I don't want to have a big bottle because I don't want to drink too much. And then I get the little bottle and then I drink it. And that's the reality for an alcoholic, is once I put one in me, there's no control. It takes outside intervention to stop me from putting anything else in me. And so I drink that bottle, get home as I planned, everything's going well. And then I wake up the next morning, I don't remember what I did the night before. There's another bottle that's downstairs in the basement that I don't remember buying. I got a Sharpie and I drew a line on the bottles, like I'm only gonna drink to the line tonight. That way I don't have to think as much about it. Woke up the next morning, man, that bottle's empty, way below the line. I have no idea what I said, man. Waking up every morning, God, feeling anxious and scared. And I don't remember what I did. And I'm having to ask questions without really asking questions, because I don't want to be known that I don't know what I did. Everything that I was trying to fix got worse. And I did the same thing the next day. And to me, man, that's the story of addiction, at least in my life. We launched Beachmont campus in September 2020. There was a buzz and an excitement. It had been my wife's kind of dream for 12 or 13 years to have a campus in the community we lived in. The narrative that ran in my head over and over was like, dude, do not mess this up. You cannot mess this up. 5 weeks after we launched Beachmont campus, I woke up that morning after a really, really rough night of sleep. I went to the gas station on Taylor Boulevard where we live, and the next memory that I have is coming to from a blackout. I was on a park bench on the corner of Central and 3rd Street, right by Churchill Downs. Most everything else that I know about that day, night, is what has been filled in from other people. My wife was trying to find me, didn't know what to do either, so she just called Heath Barth, who's the campus pastor at our Bullitt County campus. and just said, Matt's blacked out. I don't know where he's at. I don't know what to do. And Heath drove around my neighborhood until he found me and then took me to detox. I don't even know how to describe the frame of mind that I was in, like everything was over. I didn't know if I could go home again. I was sure I'd lost my job. I was in the detox center that night, woke up, walked outside. They have like a courtyard there. There was very much in my spirit a deep communication that happened when two little sparrows flew up beside where I was sitting. And you know the verse, not a sparrow falls to the ground that your Heavenly Father doesn't know about it. And man, God, in that moment, he said, I created this whole world with a word. Quit acting like I can't fix this if you'll let me. I was allowed to make a phone call 5 days later, and I called home and asked if I could come home. Christy, my wife, she came and picked me up, and it was so quiet when I got in the car because I'd just run out of things to say. We had been doing this for our whole life. I got my phone back. Messages started popping up. One of the messages was from Kyle. He said, I love you, bro. Grace is enough, man. We're gonna figure this out. It was just so freeing, man. It just was out. And it was just over. And my life wasn't over, but having to live a double life was over. It wasn't because I was good at something that God started moving. God started moving because I was broke. I can't stop. I need help. And I'd never been able to say that before. And then all of a sudden there's people around who can help and have the means to help. And I'm working at a church that wants to help and can help. And I get to go to a treatment center, and everything in my life changed. I got connected to the right kind of counseling that helped me make sense of things. And God started moving. Our partnership at Southeast Christian Church with Addiction Recovery Care is a big piece of that. I walked out of treatment, and 2 weeks later went to the first worship service that we had at the Crown Recovery Center in Springfield. There's no other way to describe it other than the goodness of God, because he took the biggest point of shame in my life and transformed it into like a unique qualification to be able to say, if you think God is done with you, let me tell you how he treated a pastor who had the same struggles that you have. My whole life as a pastor, nothing would have made me happier than being able to pastor people that are in broken spots. And now it's what I do. I get to do every day. I believe with all my heart that God delivered me from my addiction, but it's my choice every day to make the decisions of whether I want to walk in that deliverance. Confession opened a door to a life that I did not know that I could have. A confession opened an opportunity for me to be at peace with myself and the people around me. Shame is killing a lot more people than drugs are, because shame puts you in a spot where the last thing you would ever do is admit that you needed help. And surrounding every single one of us are people who want to help and waiting on us to ask for help. Is a God who is able to do infinitely more than we can ask or imagine. I don't know, man, it's so freeing to know that you don't have to perform to be loved. Gosh, this is kind of the moment I prayed for the whole time leading up to this. Yeah, if you're watching this and you're struggling with addiction, man, if you could beat this, you would have already beat it. Psalm 46 says to be still and know that I am God. And that word still means to be weak and without movement. The more that you're working and hustling, trying to fix this, the harder you're making it. Man, on the other side of the shame and the fear is a life that you didn't know you could have.